And rather than sit around, we've got them all together today to talk to Angela and to me and to Rachel Reid.
We will continue to work, as we have done in the 4 months in government, on issues of security, our economy and global conflict.
Really going to turn something around, you have to do the hard yards up front. Don't look at a tough decision and then leave it for a year or two. So we're doing the tough stuff.
Did Keir Starmer just admit to using dodgy statistics to justify his inheritance tax policy? The Liaison Committee thinks so. Starmer claimed 500 farms would be affected, but when pressed, he couldn't back it up. Is this the end of Starmer's credibility? You be the judge. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. The story of Keir Starmer's transformation from Labour's ray of hope to a politician in danger is one of lofty aspirations and brutal reality. Starmer pledged to rebuild trust and usher in a new era of leadership when he assumed control of the Labour Party. He appeared to be a sharp contrast to his predecessor, Jeremy Corbyn, given his professional appearance and experience as a former director of public prosecutions. However, Starmer's carefully constructed image started to crumble as he confronted the Liaison Committee. Under the committee's scrutiny, the man who had once oozed confidence in the courtroom suddenly seemed evasive and uneasy. Starmer's answers grew more stuttering and unsure as inquiries concerning inheritance tax and its effects on family farms increased. Starmer was taken aback by the committee's questioning, especially when they demanded details about his inheritance tax regulations. Observers saw that he was literally squirming in his seat as the interrogation grew more intense and his body language spoke for itself. The confident statesman was gone, replaced by a politician who was having difficulty defending his position.
Oh, it's hard. I mean, governing is hard, and we inherited a lot of problems, an economy that was broken, NHS on its knees, and we've had to pick that up and deal with it.
Mr. Speaker, we live in probably more volatile world than we've lived in for many decades. It is absolutely crucial.
I think today is an answer to that question in a way, because here we are 10 days past the mayoral election.
Starmer's vocal clues also conveyed his unease. His often well-spoken answers were replaced by hesitancies and imprecise remarks. When asked specifically how his policies will safeguard family farms, Starmer's responses lacked the conviction and clarity that had previously characterized his responses. As the committee persisted, Starmer's first significant blunder was revealed. He had made a strong commitment to protecting family farms from the inheritance tax burden in his previous campaign pledges. However, Starmer found it difficult to reconcile his earlier claims with the committee's realities when faced with particular situations and numbers. When Starmer's answers flatly contradicted his prior pledges, the political drama reached its peak. Committee members and onlookers alike began to doubt the content of his proposals as the discrepancy between his campaign rhetoric and his actual posture became starkly apparent. However, this contradictory moment was only the beginning. It became apparent that Starmer's problems were far from ended as he struggled to find his feet and fumbled through explanations. The polished exterior had fallen away, revealing a politician who appeared ill-prepared for the intense scrutiny he was now subjected to. Despite Starmer's efforts to remain calm, the committee focused on a crucial element of his inheritance tax strategy. In reality, how many farms would be impacted? Although Starmer's response appeared simple, the reality was much more nuanced and maybe harmful. Voters now find the inheritance tax controversy to be quite contentious, especially in rural areas. A common concern among family farmers is how to transfer their land to the following generation without incurring severe tax obligations. Seeing a chance to gain support, Starmer boldly claimed that Labour's proposed adjustments would only impact 500 farms. Initially, this figure seemed to provide comfort. With the attitude of a guy with an ace under his sleeve, Starmer presented it. However, his argument began to exhibit weaknesses as the committee dug deeper. They questioned the statistic's origin and how it affected more general economic policy. As the interrogation grew more intense, Starmer's initial assurance started to falter. He struggled to reconcile his 500 claims statistic with other data points as he rambled through answers. The committee put more pressure on them, requesting information on the overall number of farms in the UK, as well as the methodology used to arrive at the 500 figure. Starmer's uneasiness was evident as he struggled with the specifics. 73% of APR claims are less than 1 million, he said, but this just made people wonder more. The committee noted that the number of farms impacted by the proposed adjustments may not be fully reflected in this statistic, as committee members disclosed that many people had rethought the validity of the 500 claims figure in recent weeks. The tension in the room increased. Once presented as a firm truth, Starmer's major figure suddenly appeared to be predicated on shifting sands. Starmer expanded the scope in a last-ditch effort to save his job, stating that corporate property will also be affected by the changes to the inheritance tax. However, this merely served to emphasize the possibility of even more extensive economic effects, so weakening his original assertion. The consequences for Starmer's credibility worsened as the committee's criticism of the 500 claims figure got increasingly sharp. He was vulnerable and exposed as his well-planned argument came apart. The 500 claims statistic was only the start of Starmer's problems. The committee's investigation revealed that this questionable figure could be a sign of more serious problems with Labour's economic policy. The controversy around inheritance taxes raised a number of concerns regarding the viability and consequences of Starmer's suggested modifications. The committee quickly expanded their investigation. A key concern for many voters, they questioned Starmer on how his inheritance tax proposals would strike a compromise between the need for more funding and safeguarding family farms. Starmer found it difficult to give specific answers. Therefore, his answers became more evasive. Starmer made a valiant effort to refocus the discussion on his meetings with farmers' unions in an effort to take back control of the story. However, this strategy had a disastrous backlash. After spotting his deception, the committee intensified its interrogation and sought precise information regarding the effects of his inheritance tax ideas. Starmer's carefully crafted policy stance started to fall apart as the pressure increased. He often contradicted himself, alternating between claiming that farms would be safeguarded and acknowledging that some could have to pay higher taxes. Observers questioned if he really comprehended the ramifications of his own policies because he was unable to deliver a coherent, unambiguous message. When Starmer struggled to explain agricultural property relief, the tension in the room reached a fever pitch. It appeared that his prior remark on the little impact on family farms was contradicted when he stated that 73% of APR claims are less than 1 million. The committee took advantage of this disparity and pushed Starmer into a difficult situation. Starmer's policy justifications collapsed under investigation at a crucial point. He produced no evidence when asked to support his assertions regarding the effect of inheritance tax on family farms. Starmer was left vulnerable, and his credibility in ruins due to the absence of reliable evidence to back up his claims. In politics, they say a week is a long time. The hours after his appearance before the Liaison Committee seemed endless to Keir Starmer. A pivotal issue lingered as the dust settled. Would Labour's leader weather the fallout, or was this the start of the end? The initial responses to Starmer's performance were extremely harsh, with hashtags like #Starmer Stutter and Liaison Committee fail, dominating Twitter conversations, social media erupted in outrage. Users shared videos of the Labour leader's most embarrassing moments, ruthlessly mocking his clumsy reactions. The public opinion court appeared to be rendering a severe decision. The incident was quickly framed by the media as a possible watershed in Starmer's political career. Starmer's stammering shame was the headline of one newspaper, while others concentrated on the wider ramifications for Labour's economic policy. Everyone agreed that this was a major setback to Starmer's reputation, not just a bad day at work. The media circus wasn't the only place affected. There were growing murmurs of dissatisfaction within the Labour Party. Some members publicly questioned Starmer's leadership skills, and those who would oppose him saw an opening. If he can't handle a committee hearing, how can he handle PMQs or negotiations with world leaders? A Labour MP, who wished to remain nameless, was cited as saying, "For Starmer, the results of the post-event opinion polls were dismal. His popularity ratings suffered greatly, especially with important groups that Labour must win over." Political observers made comparisons to previous leaders whose careers took a fall after being subjected to comparable scrutiny. The long-term effects on Starmer and Labour started to become clear as the political landscape changed. In addition to revealing a flaw in the policy, the inheritance tax scandal raised serious concerns about Starmer's ability and readiness for leadership. Now that a general election was approaching, Labour had a difficult time winning back the public's faith. Whether Starmer can weather this storm, or if it is the beginning of the end for his leadership, is the question at hand. One thing is certain, as British politics enters yet another uncertain phase, Starmer's appearance before the Liaison Committee will have a lasting impact on Westminster for months to come.